Urdu, a language that has awe inspiring depth, mesmerizing poetry, and beautiful literature. An amalgamation of different other languages like Persian and Arabic, it is one that can be dated back to the 12th century and has been associated as the language of the Muslim community ever since it has developed in the subcontinent. It became widely used in the Mughal period. Urdu has developed a rich literary background and its poetry has been significantly prevalent for centuries. From catalyzing the oppressed Muslims of India through the words of Allama Iqbal to portraying all kinds of emotions in the best manner possible through the works of Faiz Ahmed Faiz and Ahmed Faraz, for example. On top of that, Urdu has played a major role in the struggle of independence for Muslims of the subcontinent. The Muslims felt that the British imposing English as the official language was damaging to them, and so in history they are seen making efforts to protect the language. For example, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan established journals that were published in Urdu and institutions were set up that taught in Urdu to promote it. Later, it was kept as the national language of Pakistan as an important unifying force of the people of the newly formed country in 1947. Now, having understood the significance of Urdu as a language, let's talk about why is it so important in terms of identity.
The national language of a country forms the identity of that respective country. The language of the country influences the way the people of the country who use that language communicate, act, and respond to different situations. This makes people speaking different languages actually different from each other. The national language of a country contains the cultural heritage, the norms, and the customs of this respective country. The national language also becomes a symbol of pride and unites the people of the country who identify themselves through it. For the continuation of this pride, we must ensure that the national language is used in all cases. Language is not just a random assortment of words, but it's an entity that connects a person to his family, identity, culture, music, and wisdom and beliefs. It's a carrier of the legacy of history, traditions, customs, folk tales of a country. Without a language, no country or culture can sustain its existence. Our language is actually our identity. Knowing your mother tongue, which is also the national language in most cases, helps in emotional and mental growth. When you're accustomed to one language, you know it well, you're able to think things thoroughly and understand matters going around you in a more accurate and concise way. Studies have shown that teaching being done in the national language actually helps aid a child's ability to learn and comprehend new concepts. Wherever you travel around the world, your national language actually identifies you and gives a sense of who you are, and you will be united with your fellow countrymen due to this language. Languages are also tools that helps keeps your culture alive. Poetry and prose, when they are directly translated to another language, lose their essence and meaning. It is not easy to adapt to new cultures and languages. As a person grows older, no matter how many languages he or she may know, his national language would always prevail and would be the most easy and natural to him. So, why would not knowing your national language and not being proud about it cause a problem?
There are multiple issues that are happening not each day, not only in Pakistan, but with the people who speak Urdu in general. Individuals who speak Urdu are encouraged to speak in English rather than their own national and mother language, as English is considered to be a superior language. This results in people getting discouraged from using their own culture and language and try to assimilate in other cultures. Many young children are discouraged from wearing their own clothes and using their own language as they are encouraged more to follow the Western way of life, which is a sad reality. Teens wear jeans but not shalwar kameez to gatherings. Parents make children speak English to impress others, and we all, as a nation, idealize the West. These customs and norms have to be kept in practice in order for them to stay alive because when a country moves away from its customs and traditions, it usually moves towards a secession, as we learned from history and examples of the past. Countries that have flourished while respecting their languages, examples include China, Turkey, and Germany, have flourished just because they've respected their cultures and their heritage. And as we know from the example of China, it is one of the most powerful countries, perhaps the most powerful country in the world today. The national language in these countries is the main medium using which they deliver their education, and this becomes the driving force for their success. Given the context and the significance of Urdu and the importance of a national language, sadly, the Pakistani people are not as closely connected to the language as they should be.
To begin with, we believe that Pakistan is still in a state of colonial hangover. The Pakistani community is still following the culture and values of their colonial leaders. The main effect posed by this is that Pakistani people, their culture, and their language are seen to be not as important as, for example, any foreign, especially English. Today in Pakistan, English is preferred more than the national language, which is Urdu, and English literature is also preferred over Urdu literature, as English is a language which is spoken by majority of the people, as 20% of the world speaks English, whereas Urdu is only spoken by 0.002% of the world. Therefore, this is the main reason why English is more preferred in itself as well as its literature. English is also attached with professionalism since it is a very common language. Countries such as Pakistan professionalize English more than their own national language. People today assume that individuals who speak English are considered to be of a higher standard. They are also considered to be more literate as they know the common language. In large firms, English is the medium used in which everyone communicates. People working in these firms are known to be in a higher class, and the people who do not have a relatively good job than the higher class ones are known as the middle class. The middle class looks up to the higher class as they speak English and associate English with being successful. According to our survey attempted by 69 people, 27 are more comfortable in speaking Urdu, 19 with English, and 13 are equally comfortable with speaking both languages, whilst according to the IJCRB, 40% of Pakistanis use English in all situations. This is how this mindset was established, and this is why English is compared with professionalism. Furthermore, Pakistan is an ethnically divided society where people are more loyal to their provinces and local languages rather than the national one, causing Urdu to be historically neglected by the general population despite all the government's efforts since 1947. Lastly, I will be discussing how people today feel that English considered a superior language. Since English is more used around the world, it has also begun to become attached to superiority. English is used in markets, newspapers, during communication, science research, and etc. Middle class people even consider English as a superior language and they think it can make them successful. English is more spoken in schools rather than speaking their own national language. In research conducted by the IJCRB, 85% of Pakistanis see English as a marker of their education. These are the main reasons why English is considered to be a superior language in Pakistan today. So, in conclusion, a national language is important, but the Pakistani people are unfortunately not familiar enough with it. What do we do about that?
As far as solving this problem is concerned, we need to educate. The reason why this inferiority complex is so embedded in us is because since childhood we are made to internalize the idea that we have to converse in English. Thus, schools need to make Urdu an important part of the curriculum and make them understand the ideas we have mentioned in this speech. This will allow students to grow up to be people who will pass this on to their own children as well. Furthermore, today's parents also need to be counseled and explained why this complex is so problematic. This can be done through educational programs, television series, and movies to target a large audience. Such medium can be particularly effective because art can pull emotional strings better than plain billboards and posters used to raise awareness, which allows for target audiences to understand the message being conveyed even better. Children should also be encouraged to read Urdu literature so that they can appreciate the genuinely admirable work that is available in this language. This will allow for them to develop pride in the language and in their own identity as well. On top of that, workplaces in Pakistan can make Urdu an important part of an important mode of communication, such as in interviews and giving presentations. It will incentivize people to learn the language, keeping in mind a successful career. Note that this will be a slow process to truly eliminate the problem of perceiving English as a superior language because it is so ingrained in our societal structure. But we should collectively continue to make an effort.